I think the work that they've done over the last 2 months with the Robins has been absolutely spectacular.
Maybe we should have a minute's silence to commemorate how sad an occasion this is. But who should Luton get in next? I think Neil Critchley. I think he's the right man for the job. I was convinced that guy would go on to be a future Premier League manager.
I mean, what were we doing when we were 19? Definitely not seeing out games for Bristol City in front of 20.
Playing a lot of Call of Duty, I think.
Exactly. Yeah. Alex Scott sells himself. He's an incredible talent and he's got a really exciting future.
So I'd like to see Iliman Ndiaye really show what he's capable of at the World Cup.
If he does get the opportunity to start for Poland and he does have a good tournament, I think there'll be a lot of clubs queuing up for him.
If they had a fully fit Chris Cohen for the 10 years or so that he was at Nottingham Forest, then I think they would have got to the Premier League sooner. Hello and welcome back to another episode of the Stopwatch. It's the topical championship show with a little twist. It's 5 topics, a 2-minute timer, and 2 hosts with Ryan and Justin from the Second Tier Podcast. Let's get right into it. Justin, we'll start on a positive note and talk Coventry City. How good have they been over the last couple of months?
Yeah, they've been brilliant. I don't think they've been anything short of brilliant, actually. The clean sheets, being able to see out games, limiting opposition to not too much, actually, creating chances themselves. And as I say, the aspect of seeing out games and keeping clean sheets, I think, has been really, really important for them rising up the table. And to think at one point I was worried about them possibly getting dragged into a relegation battle throughout the season, you're almost starting to think, actually, they might be playoff contenders. Whether they've got enough in the squad is another question. But I think the work that they've done over the last 2 months with the Robins has been absolutely spectacular. And it's partly down to the likes of Ben Sheaf, Gus Hamer and Victor Gyökeres as well.
I was never really fearing relegation with them, I don't think, despite the false start that they had to the season. I never thought they were actually going to go down. They have been good over the past couple of months. I don't think they've been dazzling, and I think some Coventry fans will tell you they've actually been a bit fortunate in recent weeks in particular. But without a doubt, they've definitely been a lot better than they were. I think we can say that for sure. They've relied a lot on the individual brilliance of players like Gustavo Hamer, who's probably playing his best football in a Coventry shirt since he joined. Victor Gyökeres has hit top form. Callum O'Hare coming back to the team has been a big boost as well. So they've been very good. I don't think they've been amazing, but at the same time, you've just got to look at the run of form that they've had over the past few weeks and see that it's really shot them up the table, and the sky's the limit with them now, isn't it? Justin, what's next topic?
After Nathan Jones's sad exit from Luton, who should they appoint next?
Very sad exit, actually. Maybe we should have a minute's silence to commemorate how sad an occasion this is. But maybe we'll save that for another time. We've only got 2 minutes per question, haven't we? Who should Luton get in next? I think Neil Critchley, former Blackpool and Aston Villa assistant manager, ticks all the boxes. Worked with a squad that had a low budget at Blackpool, got the players there playing above the level that they were playing at before, knows how to work with young players as well. I think he's the right man for the job. I was convinced that guy would go on to be a future Premier League manager. For some reason, he decided to take the Villa job. Don't know why he did that. But now he's on the market, he's available. You may as well go for him as opposed to someone who's in a job already as well. So yeah, I think Neil Critchley is the obvious choice, and by all accounts, from what I've seen, he looks to be the one who the bookies think it might be as well.
It'd be a very safe choice, and it's one that I do agree with. But if I was to stick my neck out and go someone alternative, I'd say Valérien Ismaël. And the reason why I would say Ismaël is because I think he's a manager who fits the style of play. I think he showed towards the end of his tenure, weirdly, at West Brom, that he was starting to adapt it to a more passing. There were passing elements involved. It wasn't overly direct, still direct, but not as direct as it was. And I just think the last 2 jobs he's chosen, West Brom and Besiktas, have been the wrong jobs. And I think managers can do that. So I think Luton is the perfect opportunity for him to bounce back in his career. And as well as that, as I say, that pressing football, very similar to Jones, he's be reunited with Corley Woodrow and Colton Morris as well. I think it'd be worth a punt if I was an ambitious board member. I'd definitely suggest it.
It's certainly an out there choice, Justin. I'll give you that. Out of the current championship crop, Justin, who has the best chance of being a future England international?
I feel like we had a bigger selection last season, like Fabio Carvalho, and that's the only one I can remember off the top of my head. But Alex Scott is the first name that comes to my mind, mainly because he's just 19. He did very well in the summer with I think it was the England under 19s or under 18s, wherever it was. But he was exceptional throughout their tournament, and he's showing a lot of promise. He's been probably one of Bristol City's standout players, and as I say, if you're doing that at 19 years old, it's quite staggering. He's just not. He's just a child. Not to be too condescending. What were we doing when we were 19? Definitely not seeing out games for Bristol City in front
He's
of 20.
playing a lot of Call of Duty, I think.
Exactly.
Yeah.
We were not playing in front of 25,000 people, which just shows his maturity. And yeah, I've not really sold him too much because I've just a bit of dance around the subject because I don't think I need to. Alex Scott sells himself. He's an incredible talent and he's got a really exciting future.
Yeah, I really like Alex Scott. I think he's going to be a Premier League player without a doubt in the future. I'm going to go for Taylor Harwood-Bellis as kind of an alternative shout to yours, Justin. Someone who's really, really impressed me for Burnley this season. He was on loan at Stoke last season and did a fairly good job there. But this season with Burnley, he's taken his game to a new level. And it helps when you've got a legendary Premier League centre half in Vincent Kompany as your manager. And considering he is from the Man City Academy as well, I think Kompany will have been very aware of how talented a boy this guy is. But he's shown all the hallmarks of a player who I think will be a Premier League player in the future, could play with the ball out from his feet, brilliant in the air, quick on the ground as well, ticks a lot of boxes. And considering Man City have so much talent in their ranks, I'm not sure if he'll ever have a go in the Man City shirt, but without a doubt, I think he'll be a Premier League player. And once he's given that opportunity to play regular Premier League football, I can see him donning the England shirt at some point in the future. Justin, what's next topic?
So we've got this little thing coming up called the World Cup. Don't know if you've heard of it. Don't know if you're aware of it at all. But which championship player would you be most excited to see at this small tournament that's coming up?
This was quite a difficult question because on the face of it, you'd have thought Championship's got loads of foreign talent in there. There's going to be loads of players at the World Cup. I don't think there actually is that many players, Justin. I think there's a surprisingly low amount of players, but one who I am interested to see how he does is Iliman Ndiaye with Senegal. Now, Ndiaye only has the one cap, I think I'm right in saying, for Senegal, so he might not play. But now with the injury to Sadio Mane and the fact that he's in such scintillating form for Sheffield United, he may get given the chance. Without a doubt, he's one of the most exciting players in the division right now. And it'll be interesting to see how he does playing against some of the world's best. So I'd like to see Iliman Ndiaye really show what he's capable of at the World Cup. If he doesn't play, then you've got the likes of Ismaila Sarr at Senegal, who I'm pretty sure will play because we all know how talented a player he is. Having said that, Senegal have also got Seny Dieng. I think there's someone else who I'm missing off the top of my head as well. So they're definitely the Championships team if anyone's not really bothered about the World Cup. But yeah, Iliman Ndiaye would be the one I'd like to see. Ismaila Sarr is probably a safer pick though, Justin. Who are you going for?
I'm going with Christian Bielik, and it's quite easy being a Derby fan is suggesting Christian Bielik because I've seen a lot of him. But I think this is a really good opportunity for him to really showcase what he's about. Because we've said before that if it wasn't for injuries, I think Christian Bielik would be playing for a top European club. I've no hesitation in saying that. He is a really, really good player. Sadly, those 2 ACL injuries he's had in successive years really stunted his ability to progress. So I think if he does get the opportunity to start for Poland and he does have a good tournament, I think there'll be a lot of clubs queuing up for him because one thing he's got to prove is his fitness. And obviously the World Cup, a lot of games being played in intense heat. So that's going to be a real test for him. And also Poland, they've got a good squad as well. They've got a good squad, good 11, good starting 11. And they might be one of those teams that can progress to the knockouts quite, not easily, but they'll go under the radar. And I think Bielik will be quite important to that. And as I say, he's been in good form for Birmingham City this season. I just think he's a player who deserves his moment to shine because of such a tough couple of years he's had with injuries.
I've always said it. if he's fully fit, he's a Premier League player. It's just a big if about his fitness, isn't it? Finally, Justin, second tier retro time. This is the bit of the show where we look back on the best and worst of the Championship days gone by. The question this week, completely amazed. We've never had this question before on the Stopwatch, I will say. The most underrated player in Championship history, Justin. Who are you going for?
I'm going with Uncle Albert Adoma. And again, it's really difficult to choose this, but the fact that Albert Adoma has played 486 games of Championship football, and he's managed to play for Middlesbrough and Aston Villa, who've both been promoted to the Premier League. It amazes me that he's not higher ranked when we're ever talking about some of the best Championship teams ever or best Championship 11s ever. I've never ever put him in there. But he's been a consistent player for each of those teams and even at QPR now. So I'm absolutely amazed that I've never, ever thought to put him in a all-time Championship starting 11. And I think that's a definition of underrated. He scored 68 goals. He's always been in a very steady, handy winger. I remember at Aston Villa, he was the top scorer in Steve Bruce's season when they signed the likes of Scott Hogan. Couldn't get a goal scorer for love nor money, but Albert Adoma was the main man. Yeah, I'm just surprised I've never ever considered him, and he's proving to be a very useful asset now for QPR because he's able to play on the wing back, and sometimes even right full back.
I'm going to go for my most underrated player ever. Someone who, without a doubt for me, if he wasn't for injuries, would have been a Premier League player. I'm going for Chris Cohen, formerly of Nottingham Forest. He's a big fan favourite at Forest, always was. Scored some spectacular goals, was a proper workhorse, but also had such a beautiful left foot. It was just the fact that injuries kept halting his career on so many occasions. There was one period where he was out for 15 months, and then I think he got injured again not too long after that as well. Injuries really derailed his career towards the end, but without a doubt, when he was fully fit for Forest in the first 3 or 4 seasons of his career, he was fan-bloody-tastic. And for me, if he wasn't burdened by injuries, Forest wouldn't have had to wait, how many years was it? 25 years or so to get to the Premier League. If they had a fully fit Chris Cohen for the 10 years or so that he was at Nottingham Forest, then I think they would have got to the Premier League sooner. That's how good a player he was. They had some bloody talented players on the books there at the time, but his absence was one that they really felt at Forest. Why are you laughing, Justin?
I've never foreseen Chris Cohen ever being able to single-handedly get Forest promoted to the Premier League. It's never crossed my mind, but I guess that might be the definition of underrated. He's gone under the radar. I've just never ever.
They always got very close, didn't they?
Yeah.
But then always managed to mess it up somehow. And what I'm saying is, I think Chris Cohen would have given them that extra more to get them over the line. So please don't disrespect Chris Cohen, Justin. It's disgusting. This has been the Stopwatch with us at the second tier. Thank you for watching. Please like and subscribe for more content like this, and leave a comment, particularly on who you think is the most underrated player in Championship history. Actually, I also want to hear your future England players from the Championship right now. That would be really interesting to hear from you guys. But thank you for watching. This has been the Second Tier Podcast. You can follow us on Twitter at Second Tier Pod. I'm Ryan Dilks1. That's Justin Peach 27, and we'll be back again very soon.